Well, we're just working on some stuff with Wren here. She's with us for day training. We're kind of doing a bit of an assessment on her, seeing where she's at in terms of her training, her obedience, her commands, and her behavior as well. Her owners have been struggling with some of her behaviors at home lately. She's been showing some kind of possessive behaviors and dominant behaviors, possessive over the owners, as well as over certain resources, including the owners, as food, toys, and space, as well as showing some dominant behaviors towards like the kids and stuff in the house, right? And a few of the issues here that we have with Wren are Wren's owners are quite soft. They're definitely kind of learning from the mistakes that they have made with this dog, that is for sure, and they're doing their best to see if they can kind of change the way that they're living with the dog to make it a better environment for him, but basically, or for her, for Wren. But basically, right now, Wren kind of has a little bit too much freedom within the house and too much ability to make her own decisions, not enough guidance through leadership, and not enough accountability in the home either. She's basically free to make a lot of her own decisions, and in fact she's kind of free to not only make decisions but make demands to the owners as well, in terms of demands about space, demands about when she would and would not like to be touched or given affection. And all of these things can be leveraged by the owners. Once they realize how to do that, all these things can be leveraged by the owners to hopefully help Wren overcome these issues and at least to better manage them so they can live comfortably and safely with her as well as with their kids. But like I said, they're going to have to really increase the amount of accountability they're giving Wren as well as the amount of management they're providing throughout the home. And the other aspect of that too is providing accountability for the children in the home, because that's another area that they have been screwing up, is by allowing the children to unfortunately make too many decisions regarding the dogs as well, and regarding Wren specifically. And Wren has shown that she's not really tolerant of the children, and she's pushed back using some aggressive behaviors, right? And once these dogs learn that those aggressive behaviors can get what they want, whether that means get them the space that they want, or get you to stop touching them, whatever the case is, get you to move away from their resource, their food, their person, or their personal space, even things like the couch and stuff. If they can do that through an aggressive response, it's one of the easiest things for them to do, right? Especially once a dog like Wren kind of learns that. That's what behavior they're going to kind of resort to more and more frequently when they realize it works, especially if people aren't really responding to those signals appropriately by either listening to the dog or punishing the dog for displaying those dominant behaviors, for displaying those, hey, I'm setting the rules here kind of behaviors, right? We need to punish the dog for that, and we need to give them something else to do in that situation instead, so they understand that we're in control of the situation and not them. They're not allowed to make decisions. When they do make decisions, especially when they're the wrong decisions, we're going to hold them accountable for that. And if they make the right decisions, we'll reward them, but we're going to help them make the right decisions as frequently as possible. And again, back to what I was saying about the children as well, making sure that the children that are around Wren understand the rules around Wren as well, right? Making sure that they're respecting her personal space and that Wren is respecting the children's personal space. Those are super important aspects of owning a dog like this. And if they want to be successful in the home with Wren, they're going to have to start making those changes in terms of how they live with a dog like Wren, because we can do all this obedience training. Her obedience is fantastic. It's really, really good. But unless they're changing the relationship and the way they live with her at home, it's all for nothing to some extent, right? Because again, she still not only feels like she can set rules and set boundaries around the children, because for one, the parents have not been doing a good job of that on their own, so she feels she needs to do it, but she also feels she can set these rules and boundaries with the owners as well. And again, with things within the house, space within the house, and resources, etc. And we can't have a dog feeling like they're in a position to make those decisions, to set those rules or boundaries, because when dogs end up doing that, people end up getting hurt, children end up getting hurt, unfortunately. And so it's our job to make sure we are the ones that are setting those rules, boundaries, and that structure, right? Holding the dog accountable for these things and managing our environment correctly so both our children and our dogs can live successfully. I find most people don't manage their environment properly with dogs, and they're just kind of hoping for the best. And sometimes it works out, but a lot of times it doesn't. And I've been on the receiving end of that, of it not working out with a dog before. I've definitely been on the receiving of that end of that multiple times, if I'm honest with you. We definitely had a rough rough history of raising pets when I was a young child. My family did a not so good job of it. But it's so easy to make the same mistakes that many other people make, just like Wren's owners here. It's so easy to make those mistakes and get caught up. Nope. Down. Good. Get caught up in this idea that you know, dogs are supposed to be our cuddly Disney movie character best friends, and you know, that's great if we can have that relationship with them, but it needs to be balanced with a relationship and an understanding of respect and an understanding of what a dog truly is, and that's a predator that's living within our home, and sometimes a predator living within our home with small children. And so making sure we're doing things properly, setting that environment up for success, and setting our dogs up for success is key here. Really running a tight ship when you have children and dogs together in the same house. Not being one of those people that falls for that trap of trying to, you know, get social media viral or famous by taking a cute video of your dog and your baby cuddling or whatever the case is, because again, it doesn't always end well. So keeping that in mind, especially with dogs and children, especially with dogs with behaviors like Wren. Again, we're dealing with, you know, not just some learned behaviors here, but also some genetic behaviors, I'm assuming, as well. Wren's always been a bit of a struggle for the family, so it's no surprise that these behaviors are going to kind of grow and develop into either worse behaviors, more serious behaviors, or again, just the environment is going to change to make these behaviors more serious because children are present and stuff. So again, just some of my thoughts there surrounding Wren, some of the issues she's been having. As you can see, obedience is looking really, really good, holding a nice down state despite all these distractions. We're going to go ahead and recall her here and work on a few other things. So Wren, come. Good. Good. Wren, sit. Good. Wren, down. Good. I think you were already going down, but that's okay. Really good stuff. Wren, come. Good. Wren, sit. Good. That's good. That's really good. She was going into a down when I said sit, but that's nice. I like that. Good. Okay, we're going to see if we can send her out of our space now. Wren, out. No, out. Good. See, that is right there. Perfect. When we're sending our dogs out, it's a super important thing to be able to do with a dog like Wren, especially, whether it's with you or with your children, being able to send her out of your space, being able to send her out of space in general, using a command, using your e-collar, and using your spatial pressure and just your presence to send the dog out of your space. If I step towards Wren right now, I want her to yield to my space. Wren, out, out. Good. See, I want her to move out of my space, and if I need to, I'll shuffle my feet into her space to take that space back from her, right? Instead. Wren, come. Come. Sit. Nope, come. Sit. Good. Sit. There you go. Oh, come. Nope, come.
How old are you?
Nope, come. Sit. Nope, come. Come, sit. Good, there you go. Good. Troubleshooting that sit. Recalling to get that sit, right? She keeps downing on that sit. We are downing when I give that sit command. We're downing on that recall. Some people won't find that a big deal, but I want the dog responding to the cue, so I'm going to help her in any way I can. No repeating the command. I'm actually recalling her out of that down, then repeating the command to get her into that sit. Keeps going to the down, so I'm going to use that leash to help her and make sure it's successful. We're working around quite a bit of distractions and stuff here too, so heel. So she's trying to kind of focus in that direction. Now, a few things here to point out is when I give that command, Wren, sit. Good. Using that leash to help make sure we get that sit. Wren, down. Good. Now, if I'm giving a command, if she doesn't immediately perform that command when I give it, I'm going to mark with a no, tap my e-collar, the black S button here. I'm going to tap on the stimulation, and then I'm going to repeat my command. So if she gets out of this down now, I'm going to say no and do the same process. No, tap my e-collar, repeat the command. If she still struggles, I'm going to help her. I'm going to go grab the leash. I'll give her a hand signal. I'll use some spatial pressure to help her get into the down and figure out how to remove that pressure, that e-collar pressure. But again, if I give a command, I expect the dog to perform the command within about a second. If they know that command, especially, obviously, if they know the command, I expect them to perform it in a second. And if they don't, I mark with no and a correction, and then they get to try again when I repeat that command. Really important. That's our sequence, right? Command. If the dog performs the command successfully immediately after giving the command, you mark with good, reinforce with either a reward, affection, whatever your dog finds rewarding in that moment. And then vice versa, if you give the command and the dog does not perform the command within a second, you're going to mark that with a no. You're going to apply your correction, either on an e-collar, a leash pop, whatever the correction you're using is, and then you're going to repeat that command as a way to help the dog figure out what they need to do, right? If on that second time you repeat it, they're still struggling, I will mark with no, correct, and then I'll help them into the command if I need to, even on that second one, depending on where the dog is at. If I think they're truly struggling or just, kind of blowing me off, that will determine if I'm going to help them or correct again at a higher level to get that compliance. So a few little keys, subtle, differences there, right? And, you won't always necessarily be certain of the difference unless you have the experience with multiple dogs. So it's we try to give them the benefit of the doubt a lot of the time. So if we find our dog seems confused, we're going to help them on that next repetition, right? But like I said, some dogs, they will blow you off, and we know how to tell the difference, so we will turn that level up and correct higher if we feel that that's necessary.